Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be a very easy little book tag because I did my hair and makeup this morning for absolutely no reason. As you guys can see, I'm like way too made up for this video, but I figured I might as well take advantage of it and record a video for you guys. So here's a very easy little book tag called Don't Judge a Book. I've been tagged by the lovely Jazz Damon over on Travels and Fiction. She is such a genuine and positive force in this community. I highly recommend you guys go watch her videos because every single time I watch her videos, I feel like my face just lights up. Like, she just has this positive aura and it's so infectious. I can't say enough good things about her. She's amazing. Please go watch her. But yeah, she tagged me in this book tag and I figured why not do it because it's pretty short and it seems really fun. So let's get into it. So I actually have all the questions and my answers pulled up on my phone, but I will be showing the books in person as well, at least the ones that I have here, which is most of them, I think. But yeah, let's get into it. So the first question is a book whose story does not match the cover. So I picked, which might be like a surprise to some of you guys, but I picked The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. For those of you who don't know, this is one of my favorite books, probably of all time, but also in the past year, I read this and I was like, holy shit, this is a new favorite. And I just feel like I'm gonna insert a picture of the other cover because this one is kind of relevant, but the other one just seems like it's a chick lit, and I would never have picked it up if it wasn't for Emily Fox over on Books with Emily Fox. It doesn't seem like the kind of book that I would read. So with this, I feel like the cover doesn't really give away the depth of the story because the story itself is just so well done and so beautiful, and I feel like the cover, the other one, this one is a little bit better, but the other one just feels like it's like a chick lit that you can just pick up and it's gonna be a romance and it's gonna be whatever, and even the title of it, you're like, oh, it's gonna be about like some Hollywood star with all her husbands, and it's not gonna be that crazy, but it is, and it is amazing. Highly recommend you guys read this book if you haven't yet, even if you're not a big fan of like romance stories. I am not, and I loved it. So yeah, I just feel like this doesn't exactly show the entire breadth of what this book is to a lot of people, so that's the first one. The next question is a book you love but hate the cover of. So I honestly haven't read that many books with terrible covers, I guess, but I have two answers for this, so I'm gonna just show both of them. The first one is Quiet by Susan Cain. This is an incredible book for introverts and extroverts alike. I read this for class in my sophomore year of high school, and I still love it to this day. It is very factual, but in a great way, and it's so accessible for anybody who doesn't really typically read nonfiction like I definitely do not. Yeah, so the cover is just a bit boring to me. I feel like it looks like cement.
They ask you how you are, and you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
So yeah, not a big fan of the cover. And the other one is 1984 by George Orwell. There are obviously different editions of this because it is classic, but I still feel like this cover is just so boring. Like, there's nothing on it. Like, it's literally white space for the most part. So yeah, I would have to say 1984 by George Orwell because it's a good book. I just don't like the cover of like most of the editions at all. Yeah. Sounds salty, I know. I have more controversial opinions coming, so be ready for that. The next one is a book you hate but love the cover of. I don't necessarily, I honestly don't read books that I hate. Like, I really have not read a book that I hated in a long time, genuinely because I don't like pick up books that I think I won't like. I feel like that's just kind of counterintuitive, but sometimes it's entertaining for content. I just feel like for me, I don't typically produce that kind of content. But yeah, I'm gonna say a book that I didn't really like that much. I kind of enjoyed it, but it wasn't my favorite and definitely wasn't living up to the hype for me. And this book is Wilder Girls by Rory Power, I believe. Rory Power. This book has a gorgeous cover, and I think it was one of the biggest reasons everybody started reading it because they're like, oh, like Lord of the Rings. Was it Lord of the Rings? No, not Lord of the Rings. Hold on, something else. It was compared to a different book. I can't remember the name of it now. You really couldn't remember Lord of the Flies? Lord of the Flies? Lord of the Rings? What? But it was like the female version of that kind of classic story, and the cover is so insanely beautiful. Like, take a look. I mean, it's beautiful. But the story just did not live up to the hype for me. I was like, alright, this is just kind of weird, and I didn't enjoy my experience reading it that much. I don't know, the whole thing just didn't feel right to me. So Wilder Girls was, you know, a decent book, just wasn't my favorite. The next one is a book you initially thought you would dislike but ended up loving. I took a Jane Austen class last semester 2 semesters ago, sorry. So it was last year, and I don't like Jane Austen's books. Might be controversial, might not be. I'm just not a huge Jane Austen fan. I feel like the books that I've read from her, like Emma, Pride and Prejudice, just not my favorite books. I'm like, okay, yep, I understand. You can analyze them and find all these things, and maybe I'm like the bad English major for saying this, but I just don't like her books that much. But I read Northanger Abbey in that same class, and I love this. And it's probably because it's more gothic and just like more of a parody of the gothic genre, while her other books I just feel like they're written in like a certain way and they're all very similar. But this one somehow stuck out to me. I just feel like it was more real in a way, and it was funnier to me. So I like Northanger Abbey a lot, but not her other books. So if you probably won't catch me talking about Jane Austen on this channel because I just don't typically read her, and I probably won't. Sorry about the sirens, they're always around. The next question is a book you initially thought you would love but ended up hating. I have the perfect answer for this. This is going to be my most controversial opinion probably this entire... There's probably one more. The Secret History by Donna Tartt. I read this book at the beginning of this year. Was it in January or something? Maybe it was even earlier. I didn't review it on my channel, but I wish I did because it would have been a rant review. It would have been 100% a rant review. I did not like this book. I gave it 2 stars, which is probably my lowest star rating in a very long time. Very long time. I did not know what I was going to get into with this book, like what I was getting into with this book, because I knew that some people hated it. It was very polarizing in that sense, and some people loved it. A lot of people really love this book on BookTube, so I was like, maybe it's good. I read it, and it just did not. It was so boring for so much of the book. And I know that Donna Tartt is kind of known for not having anything really happen in her books, and some people love it for that reason. I don't. Like, I was bored. I was so bored. And not to mention the characters are so unlikable, and yes, someone's gonna come for me and tell me they're supposed to be unlikable. I know that, but I feel like when I'm reading a book with no likable characters, there's no reason for me to continue at some point. I'm just like, okay, this book is long too. So imagine reading a book that you don't like the characters of, you find boring. At some point, I just DNF'd it because I was like, this is not the book for me. I'm still like, oh, I spent like so much time reading this for no reason. All right, and the next thing we have here, the next prompt. A plot twist reveal you didn't see coming. So I really just had to say Dark Matter for this one, because Dark Matter by Blake Crouch, because it is just like the quintessential book of twists, and so much is going. It's like an action-packed book, but it's also just full of twists, and the ending is a huge twist. Like, this entire book is just like mindfuckery in a book. I loved it. It's great. Highly recommend. I'm not a huge sci-fi fan, but I love this book so much. Yeah, lots of plot twists in this one. Lots. The next prompt we have is an author you had low expectations for, but you love this book of theirs. This one was difficult for me because I don't read books from authors that I have low expectations for. I feel like that's just not my, like, it's another thing, like, why would I waste my time on things that I wouldn't genuinely like? But I do have an answer for this one, and it's Turtles All the Way Down by John Green. I don't have the book with me, but honestly, I've kind of come to associate John Green with like these teenage characters who speak like adults, and they're always like so philosophical, and a lot of them are like romances. I was like, all right, and like, is there gonna be something different for once? And then he came out with Turtles All the Way Down, and I read that like maybe a year or 2 ago, and I really enjoyed it. Actually, I thought it was a great, at least for, I'm not somebody who has anxiety, but I thought it was the kind of book that makes you feel like you have anxiety, which is really hard to achieve through writing, but he did it. And the entire book, like, you just feel like the character. I think her name was Azza. You feel like Azza. You literally are in her body at some points, which I think is really interesting and a great achievement. So John Green, great job with that one. I read The Fault in Our Stars. When I read it, I gave it 5 stars, but that was like when I was 14 or something. I think my opinion would change if I read it again. But Turtles All the Way Down was objectively a good book for me, so I enjoyed it. And the next one we have is a trope I thought I hated, but this book proved me wrong. I'm not entirely sure if I'm like correct on this, because I read this not a while ago, but I have a terrible memory. Enemies to lovers. I thought I like didn't like that because I felt like it was overused and overdone constantly in books, but Nevernight by J. Kristoff. I feel like in this book there was enemies to lovers situation. Correct me if I'm wrong. The 2 main characters, I feel like they were enemies to lovers, but I did like their relationship in this book, and I thought it was great, and it made me want to keep reading. So yeah, Nevernight by J. Kristoff is my answer for this. The next prompt is a book I loved from a genre I don't typically enjoy. This one was pretty easy for me because I just immediately thought of it, but Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston is such like a cutesy romance book, and I'm not somebody who usually seeks out those books at all, but I've heard so much about it, so I picked it up, read it, loved it. It's just so well done. I think that the thing about these books, like the cutesy romance ones, is like they feel a bit like too superficial to me sometimes. It's like, oh, but this is not reality, right? Because this doesn't happen in reality. But this one, like the weightiness of the characters and just like their intelligence and their variability in terms of their personality, like I just loved it. I feel like it was so realistic, and maybe not super realistic, but at the same time it's not supposed to be. But it was just a good escape, and I loved it for that. I feel like I should probably read it soon again because we all need our escapes during this thing. So yeah, I will probably be reading it again, and I really enjoyed it. Casey McQuiston is actually coming out with a female romance, which I am so excited for because she did this one so well, a male romance, and now she's coming out with a female romance. I'm reading it. I'm getting it from the stores. Like I usually don't order things, but I'm getting it because I love her writing style, and I think that she does it really well, everything that she tries to do. So yeah, love that. I'm just a Casey McQuiston stan at this point. And lastly, we have one last question, and it is a book from your TBR that you think might surprise you. Now this one was another easy one for me. Lovely War by Julie Berry. I'm going to be reading this pretty soon. I actually hauled it in a book haul in January, I think, and I never got around to reading it, but it is a historical fiction slash kind of fantasy. There is a Greek myth factor to it. Aphrodite and all the other gods are kind of like part of this book, and it has a really interesting twist. So, well, not twist, but like the whole premise is really interesting because Aphrodite is trying to get these couples to like stay together slash work out. So yeah, I am very interested to see how that goes. I'm a little bit scared because I read Circe by Madeline Miller recently, or like a couple of months ago, and I'm not the biggest fan of Greek myths. I'll admit that right now, I'm not. So I'm a little bit worried, but I think that this one will be better because it's not entirely about that. It's not entirely about like the Greek myths, Greek gods. I mean, I can't speak anymore. I feel like I'm still in school, and yet I can't, like, we have online class and my brain is just not working. Anyways, I'm really excited to get into that book, and I hope that I like it because it just seems like everybody on BookTube has been enjoying it. So yeah, I think that's kind of rare when everybody seems to have, like, even the people who usually are dissenters when it comes to like hype books, they loved it too. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll like it. So yeah, that marks the end of this book tag. I hope this wasn't too long, but I wanted to share with you guys what I'm currently reading because I figured, why not? Just update you guys on what I'm reading because I'm not really doing any current reads videos anytime soon. So here are the two books that I'm currently reading. Orlando by Virginia Woolf, and I'm rereading Slaughterhouse 5 by Kurt Vonnegut. These were both in my book haul in March. And yeah, I'm liking them both so far. This one is very lyrical, which honestly is kind of difficult for me to read right now because like my brain cannot process anything right now. So like this book is kind of a lot. It's very dense with detail and like beautiful prose. And this one is just like, what the fuck is going on? Like that's all I have to say for this book. It's just insane. So yeah, I'm gonna go now. I hope you guys have a wonderful day slash week. I will see you in my next video, which let me know what you guys think about this. I've been thinking about doing a reading vlog because I haven't done one of those yet, but overlapping it or kind of like superimposing me reading a poem, because I've been doing a lot. If you guys don't know, I'm a writer. I write a lot of poetry as well, and I've been doing Escape Roll, which is a kind of daily reading challenge hosted by Savannah Brown, who's also a poet here on YouTube, but she's also a writer, just in the real world. And so I've been doing poetry slash prose every day for that, and I figured why not share it with you guys, because this is like my creative outlet. So if you guys would like to see that, I'm gonna kind of like, my idea is doing kind of an artsy video where like I'm going about my day and doing a reading vlog, but in the background you guys will hear me reciting a poem with some music in the background. Like, it's gonna be a good thing. It's gonna be a nice thing, and I hope you guys like it. So let me know if you want to see that. Other than that, thank you guys for watching this video. I'm so sorry for the background noise. Once again, my family's all at home and they're working, so yeah, lots is happening. But anyways, I'll see you guys soon, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Bye guys.